Right, okay, so let's get to this, the Qadiani thing, people. Right. Okay, I've got to give you the backdrop. Right, this is the backdrop. Es muy importante. Okay, it's muy importante. Because you have to understand why I'm clarifying on the Qadianis. So, people, over the past few days, I have been getting trolled. By who? By the Qadianis. Yeah, this is embarrassing to say, but I've got to, okay, give you guys the backdrop. So, some Qadiani guy made a video about me. This is so embarrassing, getting trolled and bullied online by Qadiani. This is like getting bullied by a librarian. किसी को मुंह दिखाने के लायक नहीं रहा यार. क्या करें? I'm like, this one too much, you know, this one. So I've got like some nerds bullying me. It's like, yaar, confidence to dekho. It's like, look at the confidence these people have. So anyway, what's happened is some Qadiani decide to make a video. For no reason, I have not been picking on Qadianis. I have not been picking on Qadianis. I have even called in the past to tell people, and I still support that, I'm against oppression and persecution and all that kind of stuff of anybody, right? And I've said that about Qadianis as well. But out of the blue, some guy just thought, I know, here's Mufti Abu Layth. I don't know why he thought that. He's either never watched any of my refutation videos. Never, Sonia. This is the. So he's decided to make a video saying. And in fact, you know what? If I can bring up a brief clip on YouTube. Now he made this video just saying that, look, Mufti Abu Layth, and this is the dumb thing. He's trying to roast me in it. And, okay, he's not trying to cuss roast, because obviously for that you need a sense of humor. And if you had a sense of humor like that, then you wouldn't you obviously couldn't follow that Messiah, but I'm going to get to that in a moment, right? So so he says that, look, basically half the time he's saying anything good I've said or anything interesting, he's saying I've taken it from them. Acha, shabash. So everything I'm saying that makes sense. Oh yeah, he took this from us, but we explain this better than he does. And everything, so for example, he says, oh, I've said that there's going to be no second coming of Jesus, let's say. He says, oh, he took this from the Qadianis. Acha, I took this from the Qadianis, did I? Even though I've got a video explaining that the whole Messiah concept is what gave rise to the Qadianis. But he says, oh, look, anything like when I've said, look, there's no apostasy. Sorry, there's no ruling for, as in, you know, you don't kill the apostates and things like this. So he said, oh, he plays that clip and he says, we agree here with him. But basically, I'm somehow taking this from them as well. But they still explain it better. And then he just keeps, he takes, and then he just does like loads of what that Sunni defense were doing. I think he just took the video. Here's this guy, Mufti Abu Layth, saying tattoos are not haram. Here he's saying this is not haram. Here is not. Oh, what a deviant. What, they're calling me a deviant. Kya ho raha hai, boss? They're calling me a deviant. The Qadianis are calling me a deviant. I'm just shocked, but this is the. Look, look at this, guys. So this is the guy, right? I'll just show a brief clip of him.
The last religion. He brought the last Sharia and is the last law-bearing prophet. As for the books Abu Layth only denies the concept of law.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Then his final claim, he goes on to saying,
that voice. Yes, I know. But anyway, then they repeatedly tagged me into this clip. And then I just said, look, this is so dumb, but they wouldn't let me be. So, okay, I said to them, look, if you carry on, people, I'm going to respond to you guys. So anyway, that was the background. Then they trolled me. They came, so many of these Qadian came onto my posts on Instagram and they made all these comments. Within something like a few hours, I must have had to block something like 40 of them, something like that. And then over the following days, they continued to troll me. I couldn't believe this, yeah. Right, so this is just taking the mix. So anyway, I said, look, okay, hold your horses, people. Yeah, I will. So one of them started emailing me. And he started asking me these, it's me. I said, who are you? Introduce yourself. I'm the one who did this and about this video and this and this and this. Yeah, I don't even know who you are. You're not introducing it. I've got no idea. And so obviously, you know, if you're going to wind me up. So I just said to them, look, okay, legitimate question. I said, okay, here's a sincere question. Was Mirza Ghulam Qadiani an inbred? Okay, sorry people, but but that's what you're gonna get if you provoke people like me. This is obviously gonna happen. And then he was like, look, oh my god, I'm gonna share these emails. I was like, why are you gonna share them? I will share it, yaar. Aap kahe ko takleef utha rahe hain, janab? I will share it. Anyway, so put that all aside. So people have asked, what is this Qadiani thing? What is the backdrop? Let's explain about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani Sahib. Right, so people, first of all, right, I'm going to come back to those of you wondering who he is. I printed off of Islam, but you might want to see his picture closer still. So the bloody good looking fella, honestly. God damn, honestly. Wow. Yeah. This is bloody good looking guy, mashallah. Oh. What? Right, so this is him. Now, born in 1839 in Punjab, in Qadian, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Now, I wasn't taking the mick out of, but he does, that is him. I'm not, yeah, honestly, I'm not, this, I had some people say to me, I had this one lady, this one girl, messaging me, telling me how she's a convert to Qadianism. And she said, I used to be a Sunni Muslim, but I left and I became a Qadiani. So I just said, okay, good for you. And she was like, you watch what Allah is going to do to you, this. So I said to her, look, listen, okay, out of curiosity then, chalo, I'll engage you. I said, I just want to know, do you seriously, like, I want to really know, do you really believe it? Do you really believe in it? Do you really believe in him? Really? And she said, yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Got to play both roles in it. Let me, I don't know whether she added the patta, but let's, yeah, alhamdulillah, dude. So anyway, I said, so, okay, so do you believe that God spoke to our, and she said, yeah, I believe God spoke to him. I said, in Punjabi. I said, do you really believe that God spoke to Ghulam Qadiani, to Mirza Qadiani in Punjabi? Do you believe that? So she said, well, what's wrong? Why? What's the problem with that? So I said, look, let me get this right, people. In an age of tyranny and vicious evil, that has encapsulated the globe and manifested it as colonialism, with mass genocide taking place, the butchering and robbing of resources, and humanity has plunged into a time of suffering. God decides to break his laws of nature and intervene in free will. I mean, one is the belief that, okay, God doesn't intervene then, he lets humans be responsible, but God decides to break those laws and intervene. Again, he's going to intervene, people. And he intervenes by having a chat with some guy in Punjabi. That's the plan. Are you for real? That is the divine plan. That God's just going to have a chat with some guy in Punjabi. And that's it. Like, there's no change. Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be some change here? This is like the darkest times that humanity are going through of suffering, and since you're going to intervene anyway, but rather than just having a chat in Punjabi, God says, okay, da, oh balle balle. Right, so the thing is, anyway, but then God chooses obviously the most handsome of Punjab. Oh, Sada Punjab. So God chooses obviously the most. Oh, guys, I've got something for you. If there was ever somebody that could rival, right, Ghulam Qadiani in his, I got a printout. There was ever somebody that could rival in aesthetically, in divinely given looks. Have you guys heard of smart? Because this one is smart. Smart. Smart is like well dressed. Smart. Smart. Have you heard of this guy, by the way? He's like a social media legend. His name is this is him. His name is Smart Hariram Serial Kisser. I'm not making this up. Honestly, his name is Serial Kisser. It's Smart Hariram. Hariram, I'm telling you honestly, his posts. I took some. Let me just one moment, people, and then I'm going to carry on. Don't worry, I'm going to carry on with the. But I gotta share some of this with you. I got to, man. I got to. This is, people, this is Smart Hariram. And here he is again. If ever somebody could rival Hariram Serial Kisser. Right? In gleaming good look. So here he is again in his photoshopped. And he says, look, friends, today I tell you one secret. Girl Dagot proposed me one time, but I said no. I said Hariram is no marriage to women. Only please women. She smiles and said she is not women's. Her name is her name is Gal. I said, okay, Gal, but I am not your boy. Hashtag serial kisser. Hashtag Hariram. So, Ghulam Hariram Qadiani. This is, and the reason why, Hariram is not an insult, because later on you're going to learn in a moment. Hariram Qadiani Sahab actually claimed to be an incarnation of Krishna ji later on. Krishna, I'm not making this. I'm going to quote the sources, yaar. I'm not making this stuff. You guys don't believe me. This is the problem, You naughty. So, let's get on to a bit of facts about who was Ghulam Qadiani Sahib, aka Hariram. Right, so he's born in 1839 in Punjab. Now, I want to mention something. A lot of Qadianis will say that, oh, he did not claim to be a prophet. Some people will say this to you. And they will quote you his books. Right, now, the interesting thing is that's partially true. That's a half-truth. Half-truth, you know, this one, half-truth, half-truth. The reason being is because Qadiani went on a developmental journey, right? And there was, so initially, if you see in 1884, he claimed an open proclamation to be a revivalist and a reformer. So it is true, in his early years, he did not claim any kind of messianic mission or prophethood. So they will show you these books, okay? So they will say that, look, in these books, he doesn't say that, and that is true. However, 7 years later, he made an announcement stating that he was the promised Messiah. And in 1901, he claimed to be a prophet, he claimed prophethood, and in 1904, he claimed to be Krishna. Krishna, Hari Ram, Hari Krishna, you know, that Krishna. This is nothing to do with Sikhs, by the way. Sikhs, somebody's saying something about Sikhs. He's nothing to do with Sikhs. Punjab is a huge region. In fact, a greater part of Punjab is actually in modern day Pakistan. So there's more of Punjab in Pakistan than there is in India today. So Punjab is actually nothing to do with, I mean, obviously there's Sikhs in Punjab, but there's Muslims in Punjab as well. And historically there was our good-looking guest in Punjab as well. So there are, and I accept, look, there may be some Qadianis that haven't accepted Mirza Sahib to be a prophet. There may be some, but the majority of them do. Okay. Now, some claims made by Mirza Ghulam, aka serial killer. Okay, by the way, in his lifetime, he had an addiction to certain drugs. But, hey, I'm not one to judge. Hum judge nahi karte. No, don't judge people. Oh, no, don't. Are you judging? Don't judge. We're not judging about the addiction to. He did have some addictions to certain drugs, but no judging, no judging. Right. So what did he say though? What were the claims? He said, an angel comes to him. Right. The angel. He said Jibrail has been renamed as Ail. Ail, not Jibrail. Ail. Said his new name was Ail. And he said, Ail comes to me again and again. This was in his book called Haqiqatul Wahi on page 103. 103, huh? He said, I swear by Allah, saying that these are the words of Allah which were revealed to me. This is in his book Haqiqatul Wahi. People, he said, check this out. In his book Ruhani Khazain, Spiritual Treasures, he said that, and I swear by the Lord that he has placed my name as a Nabi, as a prophet, and he has called me the promised Messiah. In his son's book, Mirza Bashiruddin, he wrote, it is very clear and evident that after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the door of prophethood is still open. Haqiqatun Nabuwa. That was the book. He writes in his Mirza Ghulam Qadiani writes in his book Ruhani Khazain, afterwards revelation kept coming to me as the rain, clearly addressing me as a prophet. These were his words. I'm not saying that. He's saying. In another one of his books, he wrote in Haqiqatul Wahi, I am Adam, I am Noah, I am David, I am Jesus, the son of Mary, and I am Muhammad. These were the words of Ghulam Sahib. Right. So this was in his Haqiqatul Wahi, page 521. 521. Right, okay. In his book, Kashti-e-Nuh, the Ark of Noah. Kashti-e-Nuh, right, this is what he used to call his new Sharia. He used to call his new laws that he's brought, Kashti-e-Nuh, the Ark of Noah. In this he writes, blessed is that person who recognized me. Yeah, of course you're gonna, well, obviously you're gonna be, well, you have to recognize him obviously with that dhoti he's wearing on his head. Sorry. Keep it academic. Okay. So these are his words, okay? I'm not making any of this up because some people might think I'm making this up. His followers send salatu was salam upon him. So for example, in the books of Al-Fazl al-Qadiani, you have the book of Darood was salam upon him. Yeah, Imam, that they call him the Imam of the creation. As-salatu was salamu alayka, stuff like this. They send that upon him. Okay. In one of his, now in his early years, he did write. So in his early books, like Kitabul Bariya, he writes, anyone who claims to be a prophet after the prophet is cursed. So sometimes Qadianis will show these early things and say, look, he didn't make these claims. But that's in his early years. That is true. He did used to say, I have no claim to prophethood. That is in his book. So in his early years, he did do a lot of this. In Ainai Kamalat, he writes, I am not a prophet, I am an addressee. So somebody who God speaks to. But later on, he does, this is part of his development. So in Kashti-e-Nuh, in the Ark of Noah, he writes, page 47, the mystery is now cleared. He says, this is Christ who is awaited. And in the words of inspiration, it is I who is meant by Mary and Christ. It is about me. So, you know, when the Qadianis say Jesus is not going to come back, they weren't saying it like, you know, when I said, oh, Jesus, I don't believe Jesus is going to come, and other scholars, the great Mashayikh of Al-Azhar and Muhammad Abdu and Rashid Rida and all these great Sheikh Shaltut and Mustafa Maraghi and all these people who didn't believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ, and Abul Kalam Azad and people like Awaidullah Sindhi and Ibn Ashur problematized it and all these kind of things. All these people, Allama Iqbal, that's because they didn't believe in the messianic vision. We believe that Islam was completed with the Prophet. The reason Qadiani said that, and I understand that many Muslims do believe that Jesus is coming, but the reason why Qadiani said that Jesus Christ is not coming, because he was meant to be Jesus Christ. That's why there was no second Jesus. Now, somebody here is saying, Tasnif Akbar is saying, and I agree with Tasnif, I actually do feel that it wasn't about him lying. I feel that he had mental health issues. I actually do believe this. I'm not saying this as a kind of cuss. I actually feel that he kind of lost the plot, like mentally, internally. And he started to see these things. This is why I don't fault him as much as I fault people who, like, I think, do you really believe in that? That this is God's great solution to mankind, to have a chat with some guy in Punjabi. Oh, and by the way, God spoke to him in other languages as well. God spoke to him in English, and do you know what God said in English? Oh, sorry, wrong. Sorry, wrong serial kisser. Do you know when God spoke to him, what God said in English? Because he said God spoke to me in English as well. And in English, he said to me, I love you. I'm not making this up. Yeah, I'm not making this up. He actually said, God spoke to me in English and he said, I love you. I love you, yaar. I love you. That was God's English to him. It really was that God said to him in English, I love you. Yaar, what is God doing? If he's going to intervene, this is not the time to intervene by just having gupshup in Punjabi and just saying I love you in English. There's got to be some other intervention. Right, so okay. Now, by the way, he came out with some verses of the Quran himself. He said about other verses, so he said that certain, in his book Tazkirah Majmu'a Ilhamat, page 281, he wrote that Surah Al-Kawthar, Inna A'taynak Al-Kawthar, was revealed to him. And the verse in Surah Inshirah about لَقَدْ وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, that we have raised your praise, was revealed about him. He said that the verse of the Quran, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, we have not sent you except as a mercy for the worlds, was revealed about him. These are in his book Tazkirah Majmu'a Ilhamat, page 281. Then he said there were new verses of the Quran that were revealed to him, like Ahlus Suffa wa ma adraka ma Ahlus Suffa, the people of Suffa, and what do you know about the people of Suffa? You will see their eyes are flowing with tears, and peace and blessings upon you, and so on. And these were new parts of the Quran that came to him. And in another verse, God said, and we have revealed it close to Qadian. That's a verse of the Quran that, according to, it was a new verse of the Quran, that we have revealed it close to Qadian. Yeah. And in another thing, he said as well that, you know, the Masjid al-Aqsa was his mosque in Qadian. And he said on the night journey, the Prophet didn't go to, in the night, what I believe was, and many people believe was a vision, and other Muslims believe was physical, but either way, that where the Prophet went, they said he didn't go to Jerusalem, he went to Pakistan. He went, honestly, I'm not making this up. He says in his book that he went to Pakistan, to Qadian. I mean, it wasn't called Pakistan then, but it was Punjab, that the Prophet traveled to the Punjab in Qadian, and that's where he went to that mosque. And he declared his masjid to be as virtuous as Makkah. And he said that if you don't have money to do Hajj, you can come to his place, his kind of masjid. Now, later on in life, towards the end of his life, he declared himself to be Krishna. And he said that he saw this in a dream, and Indian Hindus prostrating to him and stuff like this. So this is not me, and I do actually believe this is a reflection of his mental health. Right, so I'm not kind of, see, like he said in Ainai Kamalat in page 564, he wrote, I saw in a dream that I am the Lord. I then firmly believed that it was so. In Kitab al-Bariya, page 85, he wrote, I saw in one vision that I am God, and I then firmly believed in it. Bloody, you know that hadith of, indeed, God is beautiful. It gives it a whole new... Okay, I need to behave. Okay, but it gives it a whole new meaning. But anyway, so you can see these are his own writings. So when people say he has not said, he has said these things. In his book Arba'in, page 7, he wrote, what is Sharia? I have given commandments of do's and don'ts, and have prescribed laws for my followers. He writes that my Sharia is named Kashti Nuh, the Ark of Noah. Okay, so this is, as you can see, right, so there are a lot of, and I will actually, what's interesting, I'll tell you about some of the prophecies he made that weren't fulfilled. I mean, obviously they weren't fulfilled, but that kind of came back and people had a go about them at him. So in his time, he made a prophecy that I will live to be 80 years old at least. but he died before that. But yeah, you can't. He tried. He tried. His prophecy is that he would marry Muhammadi Begum before his death. They got to say, yaar, making prophecies about marriage to Muhammadi Begum. But unfortunately, he never got to marry her. That was another prophecy. He made there was a sheikh of his time called Allama or Maulana Sanaullah Amritsari, who's one of the great sheikhs of the Ahlul Hadith movement, who is also a kind of colleague or a part of the same group of Maulana Inayatullah Gujarati Saab, who later on split. They used to be in Delhi, who went on to teach and say that, for example, the thing about Jesus not coming, and it's his student who is Maulana Abdul Karim al-Athari, who has the tafsir Urwatul Wuthqa, which I often quote from in some of my lessons and stuff. Right, so Maulana or Sheikh Thanaullah Amritsari is one of his major opponents during his lifetime. So he challenged him and took him up to all these debates and everything. And they did a mubahala. So at one point, got to a point where they said, okay, you know, may the curse of God, may the person who's lying die first and whatever. And so he was actually keen on that mubahala and making that oath. But then he unfortunately died. I mean, that's hardly the way to do it, is it? But he actually did the same thing with a Christian as well called Dr. Abdul Hakim. And he did a mubahala saying that the liar amongst us will die first. Not to hold these claims to weight, I mean, but I'm just saying, but then he died. It just sounds dumb, that's all. Right. He also made revelation that God has revealed to me that he will give me another son before I die. But and God said, no chance. God said, no chance, my friend, no chance. So he never got that. He died without that. His claim that Allah revealed to him that he would marry many more virtuous women. This was a claim made by him, but he didn't marry any more women after that either. He made a prophecy about him marrying a widow. I think he was trying, but this one, no. Then he made a prophecy that he will die in Mecca or Medina. No chance. Yeah, God, can there be no chance? Sorry, there's no chance. So all of these things, unfortunately, he died of cholera, and he got cholera. And in fact, in his earlier things, he said cholera was such a curse from God, but then he got it himself, and he actually died because, I mean, not to, obviously because of old age as well, but also because of indigestion and having toilet problems, and his colon and things like that got infected, and he couldn't go to the toilet, and so he just eventually died. Yeah, you're thinking I'm taking the mick. I'm not, yaar. I'm just stating the facts. I'm going with the facts, man. The facts. Okay, take the facts. Okay, just take them. Okay, so for example, Bashir, his son, writes in his biography, my mother informed me that the first attack of looseness, what do you think, like attack as in the British attack, as in the colonial? No, yaar, not the colonial attacks, of looseness of bowels. यहाँ से अटैक हो रहा है वहाँ नहीं यहाँ की फटी हुई है. It's like this हालत खराब. So he said, my mother informed me that the first attack of looseness of bowels upon the promised Messiah occurred when he was at his dining room table. Later I started pressing his legs and he lay in comfort. After a short while he again felt the call of nature and used the bathroom a couple of times. Then he goes on saying he became very weak and so on. Once again he had an urge, but he was too weak to go to the lavatory. I made arrangements for him close to his bed. These are all part of his son's in Ruhani Khazain, part of his son's biography of him. I'm not making this up, people. I don't make this up, you know. Hari Ram, serial kisser. Meri ye majal. I have no I have no right to make anything up. So, and then you have his doctor, for example, his final, he writes as well that Huzur could not talk 2 hours before death. Dr. Mirza Yaqub Beg and Dr. Sayyid Muhammad Husal Shah were the attending physicians. Huzur asked for paper and wrote on it, I have too much dryness, I can't talk, and said some other words which could not be read. Chalo, at least I know, because obviously loose motion ho gaya, loose motion. So these were some of the things that obviously Hazrat over here, Hazrat Saab. Yeah, people behave people, right? So that he had, and the thing is that in his right, in his final days, you can see his stomach, he had too many loose motions, as you can see there. Oh, blaming good looking fella there. Look at that, people. Right, so Hari Ram, smart Hari Ram serial kisser. You know, this is the, so anyway, so this is the story. So look, this is the background of, and I actually genuinely believe that he was, that Hari Ram Sahib, Hazrat, was actually mentally unstable. So I think it's really more surprising. So I don't find sometimes his things as surprising as I find that of his followers that so passionately follow him. I'm thinking, come on, seriously, you acting, you really believe that God used to say, I love you to behave? Can you imagine the angel that came to give the message, and then it got to him and it's like, sure, this is, यार यही वाला है या वो यही वाला है यार, इनसे I love you बोलना है. Right, so the thing, so anyway, yeah, it's कोई बात नहीं यार, all is fair in love and war, in love and war, you know, love and war. Right, so anyway, so this is, so my message is that, look, these things are legitimate, that he actually said these claims. And you know, the early Qadianis were actually very extreme, that they were declaring the rest of Muslims kafir. So this is why then the rest of the Muslims reacted harshly against them. And I don't justify and I condemn any persecution of them, I condemn that. But I'm being honest, look, just playing the victim card all the time is just nonsense. Right, like you get, so for example, I said to somebody, because I took the mick out of, because they were cussing me, so I took the mick out of this. So somebody said to me, oh, you support killing Qadian, you support terrorism. I thought, what? Are you, like, are you even listening to yourself? Like, can you stop being such a drama queen? That, look, yes, I am against, and I think most Muslims are against any persecution of anybody. But the truth is that by saying that, oh, saying things like this is not part of Islam, is not an act of that's just freedom of speech. They have the freedom of speech to criticize Islam and say these things, that God sent him and God, the Prophet came to Punjab and God said, I love you to him and all these kind of things. That's freedom of speech. And we have the freedom of speech to criticize that and say, well, that's just a joke. I mean, why would God be busy saying I love you to some guy in Punjabi and in English? I mean, you know, that just doesn't add up. So it doesn't mean that, oh, just because you're against, so some people would say, oh, but if you don't declare them Muslim, then that adds to the persecution. No, it doesn't. Because look, Christians are also persecuted, which wrongly persecuted sometimes in Muslim countries. It doesn't mean now you have to say every Christian is a Muslim. If you go on the Qadiani websites, I went on their websites, they very clearly themselves condemn homosexuals. They say homosexuals are sinners. That's what they say. Even though they say that, look, we're not against, they say that we're not homophobic, but they say homosexuals are sinners. I would say calling homosexuals sinners is then contributing to the persecution of homosexuals. So why don't you call homosexuals non-sinners and just, you know, call them blessed and call them like, so, you know, why is it you're only playing that game with us Muslims? And by the way, they troll other Muslims. This is what I was just shocked about. They were trolling me, for God's sake. They trolled me for days on end. I couldn't believe it. I was like shocked. Anyway, I was shocked with the... So that was my... So anyway, people, I think we've gone on quite a bit. I think the gym session is calling me. But I thought I'd introduce you to our guest today, Ghulam Hariram, smart Hariram, serial kisser Qadiani Sahib. Right, so, so look, obviously he had, I think, issues. So, anybody who has mental health, may Allah make things easy for them. We obviously sympathize with these things. But if they don't have mental health, but they just have confidence, like our smart Hariram, serial kisser. What confidence, yaar? What confidence? That's the confidence I want in life, honestly. That's the confidence. Right, people? In the Wakil of Amritsar newspaper, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad wrote an obituary heaping praise onto Ghulam Qadiani when Ghulam Qadiani died. What are your thoughts? Well, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad is an amazing scholar of the past. He's also associated with the Deobandi scholars, but he was a very kind of open-minded scholar. I believe he was half of Arab descent and half Indian descent. I think I could be mixing things up, and he was very critical about certain issues, and he wasn't like a blind follower in things. And amongst one of those things was this topic of the second coming of Jesus. He was also one of those scholars that said that that was just a myth and wasn't actually authentic. But it's so allegedly the Hez is asking that he wrote an obituary praising Ghulam Qadiani upon his death. What are my thoughts? Look, I would say, look, if he did, fine. I mean, Ghulam Ahmad Mirza Qadiani, I know, look, in the past I've cracked a few jokes a few at him what was it? Hariram serial kisser. There was a character that I was showing. But look, we don't actually know, we've never met Ghulam Ahmad Mirza Qadiani. I do feel that he was suffering from some kind of mental health issues, and maybe other than those issues aside, he may have been generally a great human being. He may have been. Obviously, people who knew him, his contemporaries, would know that better. They, may have met him, sat down with him. He may have been, I don't know, like somebody who did other things. So besides his wacko idea of him being the saved Messiah, the Messiah sent to save the world, beside that, he may have actually been a very decent person to people in their interaction. He may have been. I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying he wasn't. I don't know about him like that. I never met him, and I've never met anybody that met him. But so if Abul Kalam Azad, who most likely would have actually met him, most likely, he may, say some good words about him after he passed away. Why not? I don't think there's anything wrong with praising other human beings. Especially if you know them. You see, I was being asked about him from a theological perspective, not as a human being. I was being asked about him, what do you think about him claiming that he came to save the world? And I thought, well, that's not only a joke, but it's not a funny one. And then, obviously, because some of the Qadianis were trolling me, and I told them stop trolling me, and they didn't. And then obviously, you know how this one worked, If you troll, I troll back. So I was obviously trolling him. So I was showing and saying that, look at, just look at his turban and look at this and that. But I was really primarily trying to speak from a theological perspective, that look, I don't believe Mirza Qadiani came to save the world, and if he did an awful job of it, because he didn't save jack all, like nothing's saved. So that was my perspective. But as a human being, he might have been a great human being. He might have been somebody that, visited the sick and gave in charity and smiled at people. It might have been, obviously these things I wasn't being asked, like, what do you think of him as a human being? Because I would just say, I honestly don't know. He may have been the fact that he has followers shows that he must have been a good human being to at least so many people. He must have been. So that's what I would say. So there's no harm in people speaking nice about him.
So people, we're being brought, we're going to be kind of cast aside. We're going to have to vicariously fly many thousands of miles east for many of us. This, people, what you're seeing in front of you is a map of the beautiful Qadian. Okay, this is in Punjab. Oh, Sadda Punjab, oi. Oh, balle balle. Right, so this is, there it is. That's on the left-hand side. You can see Qadian. It's a bit zoomed out on the right-hand side. It falls on modern-day India side. It's in Amritsar, close to Amritsar, and as you can see. But anyway, what has happened? Let me bring to your attention, people. So this brings us to a bit of the masala segment. So there's these Qadianis here who have made another video against me. Now, in the video, they're playing a clip of me saying that I've not misquoted, but I'm wrong. I'm being asked a question in one of my Monday nights about Abul Kalam Azad. What did he have to say about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani? Didn't he say some very nice things about him? So in it, I say that he may have said this, but I say, look, at the end of the day, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani may have been a nice guy. He may have been a very decent human being. So people may have said nice things. I expect them to. People who know him and who like him may say very nice things about him. So this person brings. This is the same guy. I haven't brought his clip here, but he is the one who talked. And so we're going to talk about Mufti Abu Right. So it's the same guy with the persistent blocked nose, right? So akal ke saath, along with the intellect, the nose is also blocked, right? So he says, well, look, Abul Kalam Azad from India is praising, this guy Mufti Abu Layth is a deviant. Look at his Islam. Tattoos are halal. This is halal. Wearing earrings is halal. I'm sorry, I don't get the logic. Like, you guys are prepared to believe that Prophet never really achieved anything, but you're not. And you don't find that absurd, but you find me saying, tattoos are not haram so absurd. But anyway, what happened is, now that he made this video, whoever made this video, I started to get a lot of people started to, but it's coming from Ontario, Canada. And I thought, okay. And then they call again and again. And I thought, you know what, maybe, because I'm a proper shopaholic sometimes, and I've ordered loads of things, and I forget sometimes. I order things and I forget about them until they arrive. So I thought maybe there's like a shipping thing going on, a query. So they're trying to get in touch. Why would somebody call me several times from Canada otherwise? So I answer it, and it's some guy saying Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Right, so now I get this call, and this person said there's no voice. Somebody said there's no voice. Is there no voice? Hello. This is picking up voice. Testing. It is picking up voice over here. Let me check the voice works. We can hear you. Okay, excellent. So if you can't hear me, give me a shout. So this person calls me and we have a chat, and I say to him that, look, I made it clear to this person. I said, look, I'm getting fed up with all these kind of videos. People are sending me the same video, and I'm saying it nicely as well. I'm saying, yaar, nicely. बंदे ने पुत्तर बनी जाओ, बंदे ने पुत्तर, you know, like, बाज आ जाओ यार, you know, this kind of bullying and trolling, it doesn't suit you यार. तुम लोग सीधे साधे nerds, you sitting in a library somewhere, आराम से, you know, like, yeah, you know, right, so, you know, this doesn't suit you. Just chill out, relax. And so this guy, anyway, he's chatting. He's going, I said to him, look, can I ask you then a question? Do you believe in Qadiani to be a prophet? He goes, oh, I don't like the word Qadiani. You know, Qadiani is derogatory. I said, why? Isn't this where your prophet is from? I'm having a few people repeatedly saying the sound is off. Is it? I hope it isn't. Let me bring up the Facebook people as well. So just to make sure that Facebook can, they can. All right, let me just check. People, just give me a shout if the sound is fine. They're saying it's fine. Cool. All right, awesome. So let me also, whilst I'm talking, I'm going to bring up people, who we're talking about. Right, we're talking about oh yaar, ye galti se aa gaya yaar. I don't mean to bring up the toilet yaar. This, you naughty, you teasing me. Right, so I'm meant to be bringing up our कातिलाना नजर यार. You know, इतना सुंदर चेहरा. हाय 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 नजरे हाय हाय हाय. थू नजरे बद्दूर. So this one is our you know, when you look at Qadiani Saab and you think to yourself that, you know, wow, what a prophet that God chose. I honestly want to ask, right, that is this seriously, why are his eyes like that? Ye khuliye ke band hain yaar. Is his eyes closed or are they open? Honestly yaar, I'm really bothered about this is a serious question. Right. You know, you guys, you see, the other thing is you guys ain't taking me seriously, but just look at those eyes. Are they closed? Are they open?
छब्बीस मई 1908 को लाहौर में मौसूफ का शिद्दत के साथ यह हैजा से ही मर गया. बाद वफात उसके मुंह से
उनका होता है
जो हासिलीन के व्रत का बायस हुआ.
ये हो क्या रहा है यार? What the hell is that? On the toilet? Oh, this is not nice, yeah. So, as it happens, this person called me and he had a chat with me and he said, well, look, I really believe in... I asked him, do you really believe genuinely? I want to ask you, genuinely believe? I've got no problem. Look, I said, I'm not against, like, you're mixing me up. You guys are, you know, you're picking on me. Yeah. So I'm telling you, look, okay, let me ask you some questions then. Do you really believe in Ghulam Mirza being the prophet of God? So this guy said 150%. I said, Chava, yaar, yaqeen. Yeah. Who wouldn't have that level of yaqeen after they've seen such a beautiful face? So I said, no, I never said that to him. I said, okay. I said, I want to ask you that. I said, seriously, have you studied Islam as well? Have you studied a bit of this as well, Islam and stuff? Or, you know, have you not studied? Or he said, no, I've studied. I said, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's getting more and more interesting here. I said, Qadiani Sahab, I said, have you studied Quran was Sunnah, or have you studied, just researched independently? He said, no. He said, I haven't. I said, have you studied Arabic? He said, look, I haven't studied Arabic, but I've done research, and I'm, koi jahil banda nahi hu. I'm not like a jahil person. Hum bhi apne, right? Those of you that don't know the Savior's yaar wo kaha hai hamare Hazrat, right? I've got a there's a here he is. There's another I honestly thought that was a ruler the first time I saw it. Wallah. I thought, ye kaun sa intelligence naap rahe hain? What kind of intelligence is he measuring from? So I said, look, let me be real, yeah? I'm trying to be real here. That if you've studied, which you're saying you have studied, you've researched, can you tell me what is the reason that God sent? There must have been a reason that God sent another prophet. Would you not agree? And I was using the word prophet, like you believe this is your prophet, yeah? God sent a prophet. There must be a reason, yeah? So he said, yeah, of course there's a reason. I said, okay. I said, what's the reason? I'm interested. He said, well, look how many Ahmadis there are in the world today. I said, acha, team banane ka. Acha, team banani thi. God's reason was, I want to make a little team. I said, then he could have sent a football team, or he could have sent anybody, if he just wanted fans. Was there no message? Was there a message as well, or was there kuch aur bhi, ya just wanted a gang? God was like, yaar, ye gangs mein kuch kami pad rahi hai, yaar. Koi naya leader bhejte hain. It's like, so I was like, there must have been a reason. So he goes, yeah, there is. I said, well, please do tell. So he said, well, I said, well, because am I wrong that Mirza Qadiani Sahab, born and died during the British colonial rule, one of the darkest eras for general and especially Muslim civilizations? He goes, yeah. I go, well, he never brought that to an end. And you can't say he liberated the world. You can't even say he liberated a part of Qadian. Did Qadian become a liberated nation? We know that it didn't. I mean, till decades after his death. So what is the purpose of God sending him? Like, what did God achieve? I mean, come on, this is the last shot. God is sending the final. I said, look, if you're going to say that, look, God sent Jesus to redeem mankind's sins, die on the cross and redeem their sins. Chalo, theek hai, whether we accept it or not, but theek hai, you're saying God had an objective in your beliefs as a Christian. People say God sent Moses with this, that he wanted to save the Israelites from the Pharaonic kingdom and take them back to the promised land. Theek hai, that's an objective. God sent David to rule and establish the kingdom of God. Theek hai. God sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to kind of rid mankind of superstition, to teach them, to bridge between the personal and impersonal God and counter the narrative of shirk. Theek hai, okay. Why did God send Mirza Qadiani Sahab in Punjab? Okay, oh, balle balle. So, and so he said, can I call a friend on my... I said, yeah, I was like, call a friend? Call a friend? Are you having a laugh? Think this is some kind of a chat show? Call a friend. I'm asking you a simple question. Is there a message to this? You guys are trolling me, calling me now. And I'm asking a simple baby question. What's the message? Can I call a friend? Bande na puttar ban, can I call a friend? It's like, lucky, in front of me, trolling me like this. Do you guys have any idea how much out of your depth you are? I'm like, and then I even offered, I said, look, I'm offering to let you can call whoever this person is, not now, but I've got a show Mind Trap at some point. Right now I've got a few people lined up, but for a few weeks, but after that I'll have one of them as a guest. He goes, okay, we'll set that up. Now they go on to WhatsApp, and this other person comes on. It's like, I think it's that. So, and this guy starts, you think you can insult our prophet and get away with it? I was like, Abe o piddi. Look, I said, I'm asking you nicely. Tell your little minions to stop flooding my inbox with this video. ठीक है? बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Right, leave it at that. I'm asking you nicely, I said. This guy goes, you think you can cuss, insult our prophet and get away with it? I was like, Puttar, I haven't even begun. Abjo. The colectomy. Now we're going to surgically remove a piece of the colon. Ab pata chalega. So this is I have got a video before about the beloved. This beloved Ghulam Mirza Qadian he's also known as this is him in another form. Blaming good for looking fella, Hariram Kumar, serial kisser. This, I'm not just this is seriously I've shown this before. This one there it is. Yaar, sorry, ghalti ho gayi yaar, ghalti ho gayi. Insan khata mumkin. I was meant to put this picture. Hari Ram Kumar, serial kisser. Oh, blaming good looking fella. Oh, irresistible, you. So from the message of our stud, Mirza Stud Saab, Hari Ramji, was that God, he was also a very, speaking of studs, he was a very loving soul. Very, not just loving soul, loving body. He was into his, he did like the occasional. So one of the people he kind of had a little eye for was his cousin, Muhammadi Begum. You naughty. So he's like, love you. So she wasn't having it, Muhammadi Begum. So he said to her father, or her wali, you better marry her off for me. Marry her off to me, sorry. So that guy said, look, I ain't interested. He goes, oh, it has come to me in revelation. Yaar, wahi aa gayi hai, wahi aa rahi hai. So revelation is coming to me. Revelation dictates that if you don't marry Muhammadi Begum to me, then within whoever you marry her to, within 1 to 2 years, her husband will die. And she will suffer a miserable fate. So that guy was like, oh, sorry, are you still talking? Needless to say, he obviously didn't take heed. He didn't marry her to Qadiani Saab. And nope, it looks like the angel that told that to Qadiani Saab got that wrong. Husband didn't die, lived on, they had children, lived a normal happy life. Chalo yaar, miscalculation ho jata hai. Yaar, don't be harsh now. This one not nice. Love ka maamla hai. Law. So what happens is an angel came to him, to Qadiani Sahib, an angel. Ram, not to Hari Ram. Why am I saying Hari Ram? Because in his final years, he also said he had the vision that he was another incarnation of Ram and Vishnu. He was himself. So Hari Ram, serial kisser, lover, Mr. Lover Man. So he had another experience where the angel came to him. The angel came to him and said, I'm delivering a message from God. So, said, delivering a message from God? What is the message, O angel? The message is God said, I love you. I love you. What? Even the angel, when delivering it, God, is it one over there? Is it that guy? Is it sure it's अब पंजाबी में oh le किदा सरदार. So from here, but you know, if it's God's message, it's God's message, people. You know, you can't
अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं कि I love you, गुजराती माँ बोले तने प्रेम करूँ छू छू छू, बंगाली में कहते हैं आमी তোমাকে ভালোবাসি, पंजाबी में कहते हैं अरीटो तेरे बिन मर जाना, मैं तैनू प्यार करना.
Oh, Punjabi, wah. So this was needless to say, Bichara Sahib, you know, we can't, not quite like this, but the way you got that man on the toilet, a bit like that, but it's a sad, you know what, it's a serious matter, yaar. You know, this cholera and having this, Bichara's fate was on the toilet. You know, I suppose, you know, it's not quite, you know, when you say kick in the bucket, it's it's a bad thing, yaar. But it was his fate, obviously, of the beloved Messiah of God, Shri Hari Ram, serial kisser Qadiani Sahib. So this was my heartfelt kind of tribute today in the Masala segment to our stud. You stud. Oof, those looks. Oof, if looks could kill, then this would outdo COVID. Ayo, COVID. You know, if COVID was a person, oof, you corona. All right, people, you know what, I think we've really got, you know, that's enough. But I just, seriously, that was a genuine question, by the way. I couldn't get over the question about his आंखें खुली हैं कि बंद हैं, यार. Can somebody tell me? Is it फिर भी, we only see, his eyes open or closed.
26 मई 1908 को लाहौर में मौसूफ का शिद्दत के साथ लिहाजा से ही मर गया. बाद वफात उसके मुंह से बहाना निकलते देखा गया, जो हाज़रीन के इबरत का बाइस
हुआ. All right, people, that's enough. People, let's call it a wrap.
Was Allama Iqbal Qadiani? No, he wasn't. He wasn't Qadiani. Although some people have said maybe his background was like that. I don't... Maybe his background, but he himself was a Sunni Muslim. Qadiani's claim that Allama Iqbal said, if someone wants to see true Islam, go and see in Qadian. This one sound like black, you know. Let me, where's my, this one sound like, that one sound like black, you know. Or maybe he said it, you know, after a little night cup. Allama Iqbal Sahib, maybe he got a little, you know, he said, he was a little on the edge.